I might need to move to Atlantis.
My theory behind Pochettino's potential return to Tottenham, a short form podcast. For cheap good quality football jerseys, go over to www.jerseyfever.com, a link will be left in the description, and use code atlantisfootball for 5% off. So reports have emerged in the last day or so that Tottenham have held talks with Maurizio Pochettino over a sensational return to North London after just 6 months at Paris and Man Utd. In this video I will outline all three parties' viewpoint on a Pochettino return to Tottenham, with those parties being PSG, Tottenham and Pochettino himself. In that I will talk about something interesting about Pochettino's contract with PSG that hasn't been spoken about that much, and at the end I will talk about my theory behind Pochettino's career path and the job that I think he actually wants. So as I alluded to, there are three elements to this story: whether Tottenham should pursue a Pochettino return, whether PSG should allow Pochettino to leave after less than a year in charge, and would and should Poch make the move. Now let's start off with PSG's point of view, because to me I cannot see why PSG would allow a manager who is just 6 months into his contract and without having even had a full season under his belt to leave the club midway through the project. However, I do think it may be a surprise to many that Pochettino only signed a contract at PSG until 2022 with an option of a year's extension, which means that he only signed an 18-month contract. This signals that PSG aren't looking at Poch as a man to lead a long-term project, and once you look deeper into PSG's squad you can start to see why. If you look at the players whose contracts were coming to an end in the summer of 2022 when Pochettino signed, you could see it was Mbappe, Neymar and Di Maria, who all had their contracts up at the end of next season. Neymar has since signed a 4-year deal, but Mbappe and Di Maria's futures are still uncertain beyond next season. I think that PSG looked at the situation and thought that this is the end of the era and it's just around the corner, and PSG need a manager who's going to deliver the Champions League in the short term, which is why after a dodgy start to the Champions League group stage, Tuchel was sacked halfway through the season. Pochettino was brought in to win the Champions League, and this season PSG weren't that far off if we're being honest. Poch showed his tactical ability, beating Barcelona in the last 16 and then Bayern Munich in the quarters, two of the traditional challengers for the trophy over the last decade. Whilst PSG did fail to get past Manchester City, there's certainly no shame in that. PSG weren't destroyed or massively outplayed and did give a good account of themselves with no Mbappe in the second leg. These are all positive signs, and I do believe that Pochettino is the best manager for PSG to have at this very point, and so I can't see PSG being willing to allow the Argentine to leave before the end of next season. Before I move on to the deal from Tottenham's point of view, make sure that if you enjoy this audio format video that you give the video a like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and my new non-football channel that I've just created and will be posting on very soon. So from Tottenham's point of view, you can obviously see the appeal of bringing Pochettino back. However, it does really make a mockery of the last 2 seasons at Spurs. Why sack Pochettino at all in the first place and not just let him rebuild the squad, as he would have to do anyway if he returns? The Mourinho appointment made no sense at all. Mourinho was always going to cause division in the Tottenham squad, which was seen with Dele Alli being isolated from the starting 11 and Mourinho's criticism of Ndombele publicly in the first season, which threatened to recreate a Pogba-Martial situation that Jose created at Manchester United. Even when Tottenham were flying high at the top of the league at the start of this season, I had my doubts, which I expressed in a few different tactical analysis videos, which I will leave linked in the description, where Tottenham are falling into the same trap that Manchester United and Chelsea did before with Mourinho, only this time completely skipping the success part, going straight from excitement to regret in a matter of months. Tottenham paid Pochettino around £34 million when they sacked him in 2019, and then around another £15 million to sack Mourinho earlier this year. That's £50 million spent on manager sackings, only to end up at the exact same point where you started. Just from a personal pride point of view, if I was Levy, I'd be looking for any other manager apart from Poch. The Mourinho appointment was always going to be a risk, and once that backfired, Tottenham were always going to be left in a worse predicament than when they had hired the former Special One. That said, Pochettino is still a fantastic manager and has the ability to improve individual players significantly, as he did with the likes of Harry Kane, Dele Alli, Jan Vertonghen and Moussa Dembele in his first spell. The likes of Ndombele, Reguilon and Lo Celso would definitely move up a level or two under Pochettino's management, and with Pochettino in charge, you'd back Tottenham to get in the top 4 next season. But the question still remains, why would Pochettino want to go back to Tottenham, particularly at the start of a potentially career-defining project like the one he has at PSG? For Poch, PSG is probably the perfect place for him to succeed. With PSG losing Ligue 1 this season, reclaiming the title next season is going to seem like a much greater achievement than it would have been if Tuchel had won it again this season. Add to that the fact that PSG have two of the 5 best players in the world at the moment, in Neymar and Mbappe, along with a well-balanced squad featuring players in their prime like Idrissa Gueye, Marquinhos, Verratti and Keylor Navas, and it seems like PSG are perfectly set up next season to mount their best challenge for the Champions League since the oil money started pouring in. However, my theory about Pochettino's thoughts are that he has another job in mind. See, when successful managers at the top level move to top clubs, it's pretty standard that they insist on a lengthy contract. Not only does this give them security in the project they are trying to build, but also means if things do go pear-shaped, a massive payday is waiting, as Mourinho has took advantage of massively in the last decade or so. That being said, why would Poch accept a contract at PSG for just 18 months, and why would PSG not want to tie him down for longer? Well, my conspiracy theory is that Pochettino insisted on this short-term contract as he has his eyes set on the Manchester United job. See, when Pochettino left Tottenham, it seemed like it was only a matter of time before Solskjaer was relieved of his duties at Old Trafford, clearing the path for Pochettino to be United's next manager. However, after a few different purple patch periods, Solskjaer seemed to have secured the job for an extended period. I released a video on what went wrong for Solskjaer in the Europa League final against Villarreal yesterday, so if you are interested in that, I'll leave it linked in the description and in the eye above. Pochettino had already been out of work for over a year when Thomas Tuchel was sacked, and I think he saw the PSG job as a stopgap before his next major project. The likelihood is, just by averages, that Solskjaer eventually gets sacked, probably before the end of next season. Pochettino could go to PSG, pick up a Ligue 1 title, and would be in a fantastic position to win the Champions League, an achievement that would firmly establish him as one of the top managers in world football, arguably behind maybe only Guardiola and Klopp. If Solskjaer kept his job beyond the summer of 2022, Poch has the option of a further year until 2023. Eventually Solskjaer is going to get sacked or resign, allowing Pochettino to then walk into the Manchester United job, a job that he's had his eyes set on since Mourinho was sacked in late 2018. So with that being my theory, the only reason for Pochettino to even entertain the thought of moving back to Tottenham would be to shake United into making a move for him this summer. If Tottenham do get Pochettino, he's going to be locked down to a long-term contract, potentially closing the door on United being able to replace Solskjaer with Poch in the near future. With these reports coming out, United may think now is a perfect opportunity to make a move, particularly after losing the Europa League final, as it's a lot harder to make this move if Ole had brought home a European title. If Pochettino was to move back to Tottenham, he surely has to have the opportunity to completely rebuild the squad with a lot more investment than he was given before, which I can't see happening. If this move were to happen, Pochettino would be ditching a potentially career-defining project for a project that could see him finish at the same point where it ended last time. Challenging but not actually winning, which the second time around is going to not garner the same accolades as it did the first time. This is why I think all parties involved should avoid this deal. PSG certainly shouldn't be allowing Pochettino to leave before the end of next summer. Tottenham, whilst the deal is tempting, is probably just going to lead them to stagnation if Pochettino doesn't get the funds that he needs to rebuild the squad. And from Pochettino's point of view, I think he should stay with PSG and then look to take the Manchester United job when that does become available. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe to this channel and my new channel, which will also be linked in the description. Check out some of my other videos which I've mentioned in this video, which will be linked in the description as well and in the eye above. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more content, and put your thoughts on Pochettino in the comments section below as well. It'll be interesting to see what people think Poch should do in this situation.